We're going to start with just a few fundamentals for you folks that don't know these things. The basic body of chords in a given key are formed as follows. You take your scale, in this case we're using the G major scale, and you start on each note of the scale, and you play every other note for a total of 3 notes. And so this is our G major scale here. Start first on the note G, and for this chord spelling purposes that will be the root or 1. You skip over the second note, A, play the third note, B, that would be the third of the G chord. Skip, don't play the fourth note up, which is C, and then play the note D, the fifth note up from G, and that will be the fifth of the chord. That third there is a 4 half-step major third, 1, 2, 3, 4. And therefore this is a major chord. Do the same thing on the A for our chord spelling purposes. The A will be the root or the 1. You don't play the B, which would be the second note. You do play the third note up, which would be C. That would be the third. Don't play the fourth note up, which is D, and you do play the fifth note, which is E. And you have a 3 half-step third from A. This is an A minor chord. And you do that on all of the notes ascending of the G major scale, and what you're going to wind up with is 3 major chords and 3 minor chords. The major chords will occur when you do that chord building process on the 1st, 4th, and 5th notes of the G major scale, G, C, and D respectively, and those are the 1, 4, and 5 chords that we have spoken about. You get minor chords on the 2nd, 3rd, and 6th notes of the major scale. That would be A minor, B minor, and E minor. And on the 7th note of the scale, F sharp, you get a diminished triad, which we don't really use as such. It's not the diminished chord that is called for in chord charts. That's something else. So basically we've got 3 major chords, 1, 4, and 5, and 3 minor chords, 2, 3, and 6, and we're going to concentrate for right now on those 3 major chords. Now the notes of the G chord, G major or triad, are almost all of them can be found in this bar chord that all of you know. The one note that is not included there is going to be that B note right there, the third of the note on the 2nd fret of the A string. And so the first thing for you to do is just make sure you know where all of those G triad notes are for your arpeggio. Just play them up and down a few times. Have to worry about how you're picking them or playing them smoothly for right now. It's rare that you've got to play that whole 6-string arpeggio like that, but know where the notes are. For the 4 chord, C, it's very similar. All of the notes, except for 1, can be found in this bar form like that. Most people play it like that and mute the E string, but you can play it as a 6-string chord. And correspondingly, the note that we can't get in our chord form like that is going to be the third of the note, E. A C chord is spelled C-E-G. And so then you've got that G note down there on the bottom on the low E string. And so the next step is to, again, just play through that C major arpeggio, all 6 strings, all the available notes. For the D chord, the 5 chord, this is our chord form to be thinking of here. I have learned that not everybody knows that chord form, and so to learn it, it's essentially like playing a C chord down here in cowboy chord territory, playing all 6 strings. If you refinger it so that you leave your index finger free to, when we bar it, to serve the same function as the nut, barring the E, G, and high E string. Take that up to the 2nd fret, and there is a D chord. The notes that you don't get out of that bar chord form are the note A, the 5th of the chord on each of the 2 A strings. So the D chord is spelled D, D, F sharp, A, and then you've got an F sharp and A down here, and this A here that you're not getting. So again, learn how to play that that D major chord arpeggio, all the notes on all 6 strings. Now a good exercise for you to do would be to just try to play some melodies just using these chord tones, the notes of these 3 arpeggios. You don't have to be fancy about it, but it's interesting how melodic you really can get just using the notes of the chords. Something along the lines of... When you start playing tunes with the major scale, you'll start seeing how a lot of tunes are just arpeggio notes that are connected with a passing note here and there. So go please practice that a little bit. When we come back for the next segment, that's when we're going to have to know how to play or have available to look at a diagram or chart of the G major pentatonic scale, the C major pentatonic scale, and D major pentatonic scale down in this 3rd or 2nd fret area, and also the G major scale itself. So if you would please either have your chart or familiarize yourself with that, it would be appreciated.